Love your grandson, Gigi.
I'm Peggy Nolan. I've known Sally for 45 years, and I know I cry. Hello, dear family and friends of Sally. When Matt asked me Thursday to say a few words today, my first response was panic. I don't know if I could do it. It would be so hard, I'll probably cry. But then I thought of Sally, how she had bravely told me of her diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. She was so stoic, there were no tears. And as I stammered a reply to Sally, she said to me, she looked me in the eye, and she said, "It is what it is." I never heard her complain, although she must have. We all know the pain she endured, but she dealt with her sickness with such dignity. I told Matt I'd be honored to speak at Sally's memorial. Sally had strong feelings, and you always knew where you stood or how she felt. She had strong loves. Her first love, of course, was her family. Paul, Molly and Gino, Matt, Saba, Zan, and of course, her beloved Ferd and Buzz. You all came first. But Sally also cherished her friends, and I feel a bit intimidated to be the spokesman for so many of you here today. She was always there when a friend needed help. A ride to the doctor, or a chemo or radiation treatment, a meal when you came home from the hospital, a call to see how you were doing, or a card to make you smile. How many of us here have been the recipients of Sally's chicken soup, her chicken casserole, her clam dip, her homemade applesauce, and of course, her secret hot mustard sauce. I was just recently searching for a key lime pie recipe, and when I pulled the card out of my file, whose name was on the top? Sally Bando's key lime pie. Sally's collection of friends included several groups with catchy names. There was the famous Party Animals, a group of retired JCs and spouses that met several times a year. These outings were organized by two of the couples and ran the gamut from a winter golf tournament to a visit to a local Hindu temple. The golf tournament was played in the snow with tennis balls, and it meandered through town, ending up at Lake Ellen. This, of course, was accompanied by a vat of Bloody Marys. Then on the other side, there was a tour of the Hindu temple on Route 59. The group had to remove their shoes to enter, and to be silent and reverent. She was one of the organizers of both of these events. They don't fuss, it's just us. We're an offshoot of Lombard West Boosters. It began as a committee meeting to jumpstart the declining Chili/Square Dance fundraisers, which many of us remember. And the gals enjoyed being together so much that they just kept meeting. They did coffee, they did lunch, they did wedding showers for their children, and generally supported one another. They like to say, when you age, your friends become a second family. And I have been blessed to be with Sally as a member of our Stitch and Bitch group. The name belies what we did. We never did much stitching. We've been friends for over 45 years, since our husbands, JC, kid with some people. We have supported each other during happy times and sad times. Through 20 bridal showers, weddings, births of our grandchildren, and recently losing 2 of our dear friends. The last group I'd like to mention is the Mary and Joy Auxiliary. 23 years ago, at coffee at the Glen Oak restaurant in town, I asked if there were any good Christians there that day. It kind of took everybody back. I was actually looking for a chairman for the fall luncheon. Luckily for me, Sally and Carol Masonburn were sitting there and asked to take the job, and they agreed to take the job. 23 years later, they were still in the auxiliary. As many of you may know, Sally was entirely committed to the scholarship fund at Mary and Joy. For years, she served on the selection committee, a task she toiled at diligently because she felt that almost every one of those applicants deserved the award. And it broke Sally's heart to turn anybody down. Sally has so many friends I see out here today. After living in Glen Ellen for I think at least 50 years, she had dozens of friends. And you know what? Not all of them came from groups with similar names. They were all her friends. And there were her high school friends from Michigan. There were her beloved Albion classmates. There are Michigan State fraternity brothers of Paul's. There's neighbors, physical therapists, cooks at the grocery store, crossing guards. Sally collected friends, like some of us collect shoes and trading cards. When we talk about Sally, there are several things that come to mind other than family and friends. Sally loved, as Paul said, nature. Her yard, her hospice, her beautiful Oriental poppies, this beautiful Arboretum. She would be so pleased that we have gathered today for her here at this Arboretum. And we can't overlook her organizational skills. When Sally was in charge of anything, you knew the job would get done. I told Matt that his mother was always the one in the group with the whistle. If anything needed planning, Sally was there to do it. And finally, Sally, she was kind, she was caring, she was thoughtful. As I thought of her the other night, I thought of the many random acts of kindness that I myself knew. Probably no one else did, but Sally did. A sympathy card to a friend of mine whose husband had died of cancer. Sally barely knew her, but she told me she always liked her, and so she sent her a card. Cookies she baked for the men who worked at Mary and Joy to thank them for helping us decorate the hospital at Christmas. A call to a friend she had not seen in years who had serious surgery, just to see how he's doing. Sally would do the things that most of us thought about doing, but we never followed through on. Procrastination was never a word in her vocabulary. And Sally loved to tease. If she had something on you, you would hear about it for years to come. One particular instance that I thought of the other night was, I think some people probably remember from the Hunts Corner, the silver market. Sally had come over to the house, and she sat in the living room couch. No one ever sat on my living room couch, but she did. I went out to the kitchen, and all of a sudden Sally bellowed at me, "What is in this couch?" And I came out thinking, oh God, is it a dead mouse or skunk or something? She pulls out, oh, she said, butter spreaders. She goes under another cushion, oh, dessert forks. I had stored my silver in there because at that time it was worth as much as a college education for a child. And I forgot to take it out for 6 months. Sally found it. But I had something on Sally that I always teased her about. 35 years ago it happened. We had, as some people knew, some brilliant Irish setters that loved to roam Glen Ellen. One day I was out in front, 35 years ago, and Sally pulled up in her car, rolled down the window, and had this very proud look on her face, and she said, "Peggy, I got Sam in the back." I looked at her and I said, "Sally, Sam's in the house." And I think that might be Samantha. And I am pleased you're